Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be using Tabletop Admirals List Builder to come up with a clone list. A lot of you have got your Clone Wars core sets already, and that is very, very cool. And a lot of people still assembling and painting. I've been watching a lot of the Facebook and Discord and Reddit and Twitter posts. People are all over the place posting pictures of their awesomely assembled and painted clones and droids, and I figured I would put a clone list together, be kind of a first starter clone build. If you have maybe followed some of my advice and picked up a couple of core sets, and you're looking to put something together using just the core sets, I have generally said to a lot of people it's a good idea to get 3 because you're maximizing your value for that. And so we're going to look at a 6 clone trooper build in this video. Now, I do want to remind you guys that there is a $100 Amazon gift card giveaway that is still running. There's still time to enter to win that. You just have to be a subscriber and let me know, how many core sets you got, how many core sets you think people should get. If you're not playing Legion, what's keeping you from getting into that? All right, but yes, let's go ahead and you have to be a subscriber and leave a comment, and I'll be announcing the winner for that the first week of November. All right, so we've got, of course, we're going to start with General Obi-Wan Kenobi because he is our leader, our fearless leader. Of course, we have to have a commander. And for Obi-Wan Kenobi, we're going to kind of max him out a little bit because he is a beast. We're going to give him Force Guidance. Force Guidance is one of those abilities that's it's a free action, and he's going to get to refresh 1 each turn. He can hand out some Surge tokens, and Surge tokens are awfully good. It's not absolutely crucial on him, but it is pretty good. And the reason I say that is because he's got some other things that are good as well. We're also going to give him, of course, the important Force Reflexes, which has been reduced, which is great that it's only 10 points now. So he can get his dodge token, so he can trigger some very nice little things if he wants to, stay there. He's got Soresu Mastery. If he wants to be able to trigger that dodge token for Soresu Mastery, he's going to be able to do that. Plus, dodge tokens are just nice. All right. So that's Obi-Wan there. He's also going to get for command, we're going to give him Aggressive Tactics. This one I love. And this is the one I think is definitely one of the best command options to give to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this one makes it to where I think Force Guidance isn't absolutely crucial. It's just giving us a little extra. And that's fine, because then we could get potentially 6 clones, each a Surge token, which is awfully nice. I like that. Of course, if we're using both Force Reflexes and Force Guidance, we're only going to be able to reset 1 each turn, so we'd have to kind of, be cognizant of that. But outside of that, it's a great upgrade card, and, just great upgrades in general. And then for training, I'm going to give Obi-Wan Tenacity, so if he gets wounded, his strong melee attack is going to be even stronger. So I'll take that. And that's what he's definitely wanting to do. Obi-Wan is absolutely about jumping in there and wrecking faces. And he's going to do that with tenacity. So what are we going to do for our clones? Well, we are going to put, we'll start off building, I'm going to use a mix. And I'm not going to do all of my clones the same. I'm going to actually change up my clones a little bit. I'm going to run a couple of different varieties of clones to kind of showcase a starter build of clones, as well as showcase, the strength of, I think, the clone trooper type. So clone troopers are able to share green tokens as if they were their own, as long as they're nearby. So I always thought it would be a great idea to have a couple of clones that weren't doing a whole lot to power up the big clones, right? So for our first 2 units, our first 2 units of clones, they're going to have no upgrades. We're going to have 2 units of clones that have absolutely nothing. Then we're going to throw in a clone that is, we're going to run one with the DC-15. The DC-15 is going to be our long-range clone. He's going to be there to kind of put out suppression, maybe split fire, maybe get on an objective, keep some people away. No problem there. Now we're going to add, we're going to add a clone with Z6. Okay, so the Z6 will be maybe our heavy hitter, right? And we'll do a couple of these. The Z6 is going to be our strongest hitter, and the idea for this is that the Z6 clone trooper unit, we're going to give him the extra clone trooper as well. So we're gonna make 3 of these. But this Z6 unit is gonna be the strong unit that maybe the basic clone troopers spend their activations maybe taking an aim and a dodge, or an aim and standby. There to kind of help power up, these other. So now my phase 1 clone troopers with the Z6 and the extra clone trooper can now get extra aims. And the fact that they don't have any surge is okay, because they're gonna have so many rerolls. And speaking of rerolls, well, let's go ahead and give them targeting scopes. Targeting scopes used to be one of those that I just wasn't super crazy about, but now, since it got both a point reduction and can be even more useful for clones because of the fact that they can spend 2 or 3, even 4 aim tokens in a single attack potentially with all of those white dice for Z6, I think targeting scopes has a lot more use on a phase 1 clone trooper, since you are very likely to be able to spend more than 1 aim token. So I dig that. Oops, I just took it off. All right, targeting scopes. There we go. Wait, come on, go plus sign. There we go. We got it on there. All right, and and since the Z6 is not a super long range weapon, we stand a decent chance of being able to get into close range. So let's add some fragmentation grenades. I love the fragmentation grenades. They give you surge to crit, and they give you a red die. So now all of a sudden we get into that close range, and now we have surge to crit, and this is just makes up. This is a huge empty spot, and I love it. And if we are that far ahead, maybe we're out of range of getting surge through other means, or maybe we're out of range of our clones, and we've kind of got to go all in on the surge. So that's a fun one. So once we got, now this unit is very heavily built. Our DC 15, not so much, but and I feel like since he's the longer range, with that range 4 attack, critical 1 is nice, but he's less likely to need all the other stuff. You're less likely to need the rerolls with 2 red. You're less likely to need the extra trooper, since they're not going to be able to reach to range 4 anyway. So I'm okay with leaving them as just 1. So our Z6 unit we're going to duplicate 3 times. There we go. So now we're running a single DC 15, 3 Z6s, and 2 empty clone units there to take objectives and also to pass along tokens to other folks. And also, by the way, you've also got fire support, and that's a whole other thing that these clones can do. And maybe you want to, maybe you'll use the DC 15 for fire support. That's not ideally the best use of it, but still a pretty nice way to be able to do it. Or maybe you'll use a Z6 clone for fire support with all of that. Now, you won't be able to do too much there. They can each add 1 weapon. Right, so when another friendly unit performs a ranged attack, if you have a face-up order token, each mini in your unit may add an eligible weapon. So each one can add 1 weapon. Now, what this does mean is if they're close enough to this unit, you can have you have your Z6 guy add his Z6. You can have one guy, or you can have the other guys add the fragmentation grenades, in theory, as fire support. And while that weapon is in there, that's going to give you surge to crit. So that could take even a simple clone trooper unit, a regular naked clone trooper unit, and able to pull in the Z6 and the fragmentation grenade. So it gives you a whole bunch of really cool things you can do with these 6 clone troopers. Now we've got a little bit of points left over, so we are going to add a single bark speeder. And that's going to bring us up there pretty high. Now I do expect, we've got 3 different guns. I do expect that we're likely to go up against droids. So we normally have the twin laser gun, which I like this one probably the best overall because it's the most amount of dice. It's being 4 dice, and it's also cheapest. We've also got this RPS 6 gunner. It's less dice, but it's not restricted to any particular arc. And this one is fixed front and rear. So this one is more versatile. 1 less die, and impact 2. So and it's also got the red die in there. But you've got the ion gunner, which is still 4 dice, maybe the best attack pool, but it's an exhaust. You've got impact 1, but you've also got ion 1. So this one is a little bit versatile, especially when you compare this to what you expect to see. And in this case, I think it's very likely that we may see a lot of droids, and this would be really good against droidicas, especially with ion 1. So we're going to put the ion gunner in there, and that's going to bring us up to 795. So we are very close. And for comms, I've got 5 more points. I am going to put the comms jammer in there, which also will definitely hurt a lot of builds, and it's something that people don't use very often, but it got a massive point reduction from 15 down to 5. So we're going to add that to the Bark Speeder. It will now be able to move into, you know, close range to the droids, be able to potentially shut down the droid, daisy chain of droids passing orders to each other. And this is kind of doing what the build is intended to do. There's really no point to spell out the command cards. Obviously, we're using all the basic command cards in all 3 of Obi-Wan's. So we don't really have to go over all of that quite just yet for this build. But that is... yeah, that's the build. That's exactly 800 points, 8 activations. It's, you know, clones, I think right now Republic is going to have generally fewer activation lists since everything they've got is, you know, pretty darn expensive. You know, their commander's very expensive. Their core are insanely expensive. You know, and so it's you know, to get 8 activations is pretty good, and a lot of it relies on having a couple of, I think, empty naked clones is a really good way to support the rest of your clone core. So hopefully you guys like this list. Let me know what you guys think down in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up and be sure to click that subscribe button. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I also want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing, so thank you for your continued support. You definitely help make this channel possible, so be sure to check out the links for Patreon as well as my social media below. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.